tower, and with no life stealer, again, VP, they're down too many cores. You can shockwave through the Terrorblade. It hurts a lot, but then again, you've got the Dazzle sitting on the back lines, giving a little bit of burst heal. The TNC, they don't have to stick around. Spec is back up again, and you've already got that top tower down to almost 500 HP.
Did you see how fast Tim silenced that Magnus? Yeah, there was no chance of him counter-skewing. I would not be surprised if he had his cursor clicked on where he thought the Magnus was going to RP. It was that fast. And after that, no one's like, what do I do now, guys? And he went before the Spectre came up, but sometimes it's actually good to do that because the opponents aren't expecting it. But the maximum number of people that he's been able to catch on RP is just 2. And without the skewer to follow up, there was, you want to ideally skewer them into the shrine, let's say, and then you just shrine up and then just beat on them the entire time. But yeah, that's TNC are just, their teamwork's far better at this point, and it's mostly just trying to combo the Haunt and the RP. But with the constant March spam and the Grave and Nyx Assassin potentially, if he gets RP while with a Carapace on, no one can't really do anything either. So he's going to need to go for more initiation items. He is going for the Shadow Blade. I would not be surprised if he went for a BKB after, just so he can secure a good RP.
I wonder if he's able to even get to that point. Talking about getting BKBs on him, I'm waiting to see Ramses to get some more survivability. But this Tinker is going to start chipping away. It was Aghanim Scepter in the quick buy menu for Cuckoo. Now he's actually switched over to getting a Bloodstone. But TNC are just one Metamorphosis away from pushing through the top lane. If they can catch out one hero from Virtus Pro, then their top Brax will probably go down with without any kind of contest.
I think it's a good smoke timing, though, for VP. We do see the dust picked up on the Spectre to deal with the Glimmer Cape. We also see the blink on the Slaughter, so this is a really important time for them. And if Slaughter wins this fight, he has a medallion on his quick buy, so then they can do Roche immediately after. So they need to be able to connect on this. Problem is, they don't have any vision on that side of the map. They have the anti-Tinker ward down on bottom and another ward trying to farm the Ancients. But TNC, they have their eyes on that T3 tower on top. And then they can take Shrines, and then they can take Roche in whatever order they please.
So Roshan is going down slowly. Cuckoo is keeping the creep wave off the bottom lane. And with a fortification as well, if they're going to commit, they have to commit properly. Ramses can Spectral Horn down if he wants to, but Cuckoo's currently playing both of the side lanes while the rest of TNC can just take Roshan. And VP will be able to get it. So it's taken 23 minutes, but they claim their second tier 1 tower. The small victories they look for, that advantage they were holding with the net worth, it doesn't exist anymore. With the death of Roshan, that's going to start to move up above 6,000 in the net worth. They still hold the experience advantage, and they've held it for this entire game, but it won't last much longer. Not at this rate.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really hard-pressed to win this fight.
Oh, Ramses,
nice.
He found Cuckoo with the help of Lil.
Yep, that Tinker Ward paying off.
Yep, and they needed that. They needed the space. They needed the kill onto Ramses, so Ramses can get the 415 gold and work towards having that Manta Style done.
Is that worth it, though? They had to expend Haunt for that. So now, in the next fight, Tinker can probably run free in the back lines as is Dazzle. So they can actually push in between the Haunt cooldown right now. Tinker can BOT to the Creep Wave. It's not an issue that the Creep Wave is out that far. And they are ready to go. Everything's up aside from the Tinker, but that's just 15 seconds time. And that T3 is really, really low right now.
Yep.
And it's just RP from no one, who has a lot of hurdles to hop through if he wants to be able to get a good RP off.
It seems like mission impossible. But if it's possible, if he does do it, it'll be a glorious play. For now, Raven triggers Metamorphosis, and TNC, they start their pressure. Tinker will arrive. They need some vision up high ground. Pasha actually going in with Lil as the Blink Crush. Nyx Assassin, he's the one that has to be Spike Cameras. And the RP! There it is! 4 heroes caught with the cleave damage! TNC! They'll lose practically everything. The Aegis Immortal will trigger, so Terrorblade comes back to World of the Living, caught around by 3 heroes. Raven tries to fight. Sunder is available, so he'll steal the life from Pasha, but Ramses moves back up again, and Virtus Pro, they hold the line.
Dang, they got baited hard. Lil went in way early. Again, it's one of those things you want to go when they least expect it. They did not expect to jump on their Nyx Assassin before they were even touching the T3, and they they were actually pretty decently spread out before then. It was Terrorblade on the north side, Nyx on the south side, and then the 3 other heroes were up on the hill. But because Lil jumped the Nyx assassin, they all had to come up, save him, and then they would come for a 4-man RP. And that is huge for VP, especially winning a fight without Haunt. No one delivered big on that.
Yep. And now you start to see the graph shift down. That gold advantage, which TNC was working so hard to establish, is gone. The experience graph just dives.
Yeah, they didn't have the Tinker there well fortified. Notice Tinker was TPing in on the creep as the jump happened, and he has to blink out first. You can't blink forward in that situation. So like he can't set up in a forward position for the march, which is how they won that T2 fight up on top. So it was a perfect time for VP to jump. It was a tiny window before they were all set up with multiple marches and Terrorblade with his like 5 illusions spread out, and Tim's there. Perhaps with a good silence, but none of that was possible. They just did not have enough time. VP, one of the swiftest teams here.
And they're looking to find again already. They smoke up, even before the Basher is able to be delivered. It's currently sitting at the tier 3 tower in the mid lane. But Virtus.pro are hoping for some level of engagement. They put the Observe Ward up next to the Ancients. They'll only see a Terrorblade illusion farming there, but TNC looks like they're ready to fight with a blink. Crush forward, Spectral Haunt, Raven. They force off him deeper into it, but he sunders over on Lil, taking away that life with a Nyx stun. Lil will end up falling, and the RP, it'll connect on 2. No Shallow Grave available, so skewer them back into the freezing field. Spirit and Terrorblade pushing up the Daisy. Sam tried to get him. Now he has to back up. A Cuckoo from the tree line with the Master Machines down and the continuous spam. He doesn't have enough damage to kill no one, as no one is able to jump in. But Pasha under the tower, he can toggle through that damage. So he'll end up surviving. Not too healthy.
I do like how they have multiple ways to go in right now. Now it's 3 threats. Haunt, Slardar with potential Infest Bomb, and RP. And again, as Magnus, you always want the RP to come at least at the earliest second, I would say, unless they clump up. But a team on the level of TNC's caliber is not going to clump up for a 4-man RP unless something else happens before. So like, they're just forced to come up and save these heroes up in front. Especially if Terrorblade gets RP with someone else, his armor doesn't really matter if he's getting cleaved down. He doesn't have that high of HP. 1800 is decent at this point in time, but we're talking about like Lifestealer with a lot of strength right now, and like he's hitting for like 350 right now with Empower, which is pretty absurd. And then 50% cleave, and Terrorblade is just food.
TNC's going back to what they tried to do before. It's gank, get a kill, push him. They have the Gem of True Sight over on Sam, so more vision. They'll know if they go underneath any kind of detection from Virtus.pro, but more importantly, they are making sure that Magnus with the Shadow Blade can't catch him out. But they found their target, but it's a dire Sentry Ward. Nyx Assassin will walk on it. There's no Observer Ward there from VP, so they don't know the Nyx is there. And instead, they find a different target. It's Solo, reveals the smoke, taking it for the team.
The only thing that could have been better for Solo is if he had a minus respawn time talent.
Well, he's not playing a Lion in this game.
Yeah, he should be up close to the tail end of this push, and Raven wastes no time trying to make this a strict 4-on-5, and they just have to be careful not to be baited in by a big RP.
Oh, they're using Raven as the bait. There's your Blink Crush. It's over on the Tinker, and they have to keep pushing Cuckoo away. He had to tank the Shallow Grave, which allows the Dazzle now to fall. A good double stun from Sam creates more space. Raven wants to fight, but here they come. The kick was perfect. Perfect from Tim. Cancelling off the RP and killing off the Magnus. Mag will now buy back. Pasha standing his ground, gets the bash onto Raven. It may just be enough with a follow-up crush from Lil. They'll do the work, but Tim's is there once again, working with Sam H to ensure some level of rebuttal. And now Lil, the silence again, and Cuckoo arrives. The laser, the rockets, here goes your RP from no one. Solo, what have you got left? The freezing field, that won't do it. The Spike Carapace instantly cancels it, so Solo has to go on the run. No one protects himself with his own shrine. Solo's the man who'll have to take it again for the team inside the tree lines. The rolling boulder fall, but Cuckoo found the kill. How much damage can they do? They can look to the range racks while 3 heroes from VP are down with no buybacks available.
Tim's is godly on her Spirit. That stun right there and forcing the Magnus RP, or Magnus buyback, sorry. Excuse me, that's ridiculous how like patient you have to be on an Earth Spirit. And Earth Spirit's not a hero that's like really seen as like one of the best counter initiators, but with the way Tim's is playing it, he is making no one feel so miserable right now.
Oh, the crush is out. Weave. So Dazzle is back to the front lines as TNC. They will be able to claim the entire top racks. Rolling Boulder. No one was kicking in there. He was hoping for an opportunity. So they do actually have the dust out. There's nowhere to really hide. Earth Spirit, Rolling Boulder, TP out. The Shallow Grave will protect him. The damage, the skewer fall. They do catch him. So Tim's will fall. No one gets something back. But 313 gold for everything TNC just took is a great trade for TNC.
Indeed, and they just need to be able to secure Roche, and they can take down the shrines right now. Magnus needs a BKB to be able to get his combo off. Like, if he had BKB right there and could skewer into RP, that would have been an easy fight win for VP, and I think they would be in a very solid position to clean up the rest of the game. But because Magnus doesn't have his BKB, he's just so susceptible to, like, he has to worry about, like, Carapace too, which just destroyed the CM. I thought they were going to come back with that RP there, but he had held Carapace for the perfect time.
How you get a Skadi on the Terrorblade, so the kiting of Virtus Pros can become more and more difficult. Aghanim Scepter is in the quick buy as well for Cuckoo, so the range burst damage, which have been pumping out, not to mention that mischance. Second you lose your rage, Lifesteal's going to have a hard time dishing out the damage.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he doesn't have the Echo Saber. The Echo Saber with the Empower Burst, you want to be able to kill people as quickly as possible during the RP, and...
Lil so close in the bottom. I don't think he actually knew exactly how close he was because Cuckoo was running around with his frickin' Glimmer Cape all the time, but he basically walked right over the top of him.
Yeah, the Glimmer Cape is also just a lot of micro for Tinker. Tinker, you have to press a lot of buttons anyways. And like, it's actually ridiculous how much APM you have to constantly push out the waves as Tinker. And
but it looks flawless the way Cuckoo is doing it. Like with the jump, the Glimmer, then jump again, it's...
seamless indeed.
Yeah. TNC are preparing for a Virtus Pro attack. Understandable considering VP have always looked for that little bit of a smoke gank. Sam H moves forward.
They're looking to smoke the place wards down. They need this Roche. And he got two pretty decent Observer wards on the side. Unfortunately, it does not catch TNC in this position. Even if it did, they would have a gem to deal with this. And Sam H trying to look for someone to jump. They can't just walk into the pit, though. I think they probably need a D-ward before, because if they get even two-man RP'd inside the pit, I think it could spell a disaster. And BKB is completed on no one, so he can finally not worry about his combo getting interrupted.
Like, he just forced in the top lane. Like, I suppose Spec can move back.
Yeah, Spec's really good at that.
And just do that. But right now, like, Ramses... He's sitting in the mid lane. Okay, he has a TP scroll if he wants to use it.
And now they see just the waiting game right now. Who can push out the lanes quicker? Tinker usually wins this battle, though.
Usually.
Yeah, usually.
Any kind of split push battle, Tinker is going to win unless you go a straight up counter to him.
Yep. But his net worth is #1. And he can keep all three lanes pushed out. So Spectre will be the one to defend top, but VP do not want to leave this mid lane.
Yeah.
You cannot give up this road for free.
Yeah, if that happens, I think it's kind of a frontline tank, which, if they commit abilities to kill him off, the RP goes. But then you've still got the issue of having the extra life straight after. Nyx Assassin's on the hunt, can't find his opening yet. Cuckoo very close to Solo. So Solo drops the sentry ward. Cuckoo gonna hide inside Roshan. Smallest of opportunities when Solo goes for that D ward.
And speaking of D wards, it's actually pretty difficult for the Nyx to find these obs wards because they are on the high ground and he does not have an Iron Talon. And you could commit Blink, but then you're coming out of Vendetta. Is that really worth it for them? They do need to make sure this area is clear. At least the Shrine's down, so they feel pretty safe. Normally, you would not run up right then.
Nyx Assassin's found his target. He found no one.
And
gets eyes on Lils, but know exactly where they are. The blink away! So quick.
Oof.
That had to be so close to Lil's crush connecting.
I think he saw the sentry beforehand, and he saw the obs, but that was still very clutch by him.
There goes your range ranks up on top. It was just a couple of Terrorblade melee illusions pushing in. Lil still wants this hunt. Moving forward, no, he's very visible when the Tinker Rockets connect. And VP's had enough. They actually buy the gem. No one buys the gem. They need to be able to see this Nyx Assassin.
They still don't have any instant disable for him. Even Haunt is not going to be quick enough because you have to Haunt and then you have to attack, or you have to wait for your Radiance hit, and you can still blink out of it as soon as you hear the Haunt sound. So they don't have a good way to actually catch this Nyx Assassin, even if they see him. RP generally isn't going to be fast enough either.
And Sam's using the Terrorblade illusions to see up the hill. So he's not even able to go into an area where he feels he's at risk.
Yeah, they just need to wait for a good RP. Tinker has 12 Bloodstone charges, so he's not going to be back that quickly in the fight. If he dies, I think he's probably the hero that they want to jump on very, very early. But wasting a lot of time. Last Infest didn't work out. This Infest doesn't work out. And TNC slowly but surely taking objectives around the side. Looked like possibly an accidental click by the Spectre, but there's no way they can defend it with that.
When he hangs around here. There's no vision from TNC. They just keep sending illusion after illusion and to just slowly pick up the shrine. Solo, well, again, he's the man that has to find TNC. And mission successful. He definitely found TNC. Yeah, with Solo down, 40 seconds, no buyback, is this confidence enough to actually go into Roshan?
I don't think so. I think the RP threat is still way too large. They got wiped on top lane already once. And they just need to make sure a catastrophic fight does not happen. Ideally, they'd be able to sneak and Roche themselves. That was a pretty big window when the CM is down on bottom, dying, when they're all close to the shrine. Because Terrorblade doesn't have a really fast way to get to this. But, ideally, you'd just be able to steal with like Lifesteal and a Star Dart in maybe 10, 15 second window, but they weren't able to do that.
VP. He's getting really concerned about Roshan. They scan just south of the pit, so they're sending the Spec Illusions in to have a quick look. It's because they've lost that ward next to the Radiant Shrine. So without that, they don't really see who's coming from behind, and that other ward inside their own jungle, it just timed out. So they need to refresh their vision, or they take Roshan themselves. And in fact, that's exactly what Lil does. Jump in. It actually triggers, so amplification can now come up. So they have the extra damage, but TNC, they are so close. The weave connects on the three heroes. They know what's going on. The three-man's done. Maybe with the RP on the back lines, no one in the cover of the BKB will do the work. Roshan, Aegis Immortal does go the way of Ramses. No one, actually Raven, able to sunder him, but still not enough to stay alive. Ramses has himself a double kill, looking for more. 3 heroes down for TNC. And as Sam H, Spike Carapace, follow-up stunts, he can't even trigger the Aegis from Spec. They just have to run themselves away. Virtus Pro get the perfect fight.
Wow, the way they moved around with that smoke too just missed the Roche. If their smoke had popped as they were smoking down from the shrine, they would have cleaned them up in the pit.
Poor Solo. Tinker was able to kill him off. I think Ramses is also rather concerned moving in because that creep wave is kicking him through the top lane. So you didn't kill off Cuckoo. He's still going to keep these lanes pressured out. So it's great that you've got the Aegis, but you're still on the defense.
Yeah, and it's really good that Terrorblade just died really easily. He just picked up his butterfly, so you'd imagine that he'd be more tanky, but he still fell quite quickly. And now they have a new lifeline. At this point, Spectre can just haunt in and just tank. Yep. You don't really care if he dies, as long as he sets up for a half-decent RP, and things were a lot easier for Magnus. And now he can go for more greedy items after showing up with a BKB.
Yeah, the fact he got the BKB and Spec had also, that was the 10-second BKB from Spectra used in that fight.
Yeah, it's only TB that they have to worry about during BKBs, and he doesn't have any mobility. He doesn't even have a pike.
That's a good pick. As the Gem of True Sight taken away from the Nyx Assassin. So now VP are in possession of 2 gems.
Nice. Oh, I thought he went for the plus agility and the EB. he got the plus 120 GPM and the EB. EB's pretty good here. Save your cores during RP. They do have defusal though, so that's ill timing.
Is this finally when VP can take down this tier 1 towers? 40 minutes in and this tier 1 tower on the offlane of TNC is still standing.
Yeah, Nyx is such a big threat in the fights that with him being down, it should be pretty easy.
Unless... Oh, no! He actually blinks, dodges a rocket, gets the perfect crush, and Cuckoo caught in the tree lines. He'll have to deny himself with the Bloodstone. But he's played the defense of that tier 1 tower from the same position for the last 20 minutes. And finally, VP, little look for that opening, actually about 10-15 minutes ago, and he couldn't find it. This time, hits the mark perfectly.
And the nice thing about playing Slaughter right here is that you'll always have enough damage as long as Spectre's Horn is up. And he committed for the Tinker kill, which I think is perfectly reasonable at this point in the game. And finally, Ramses is on top of the net worth. And keep in mind, they have these 2 melee cores that are pretty high on the dire side have Empower. So he's hitting for a lot harder than his net worth would suggest, whereas Terrorblade, he was highest, but it doesn't feel like he's the highest right now.
I see Raven trying to find more stability in the next team fight. Saw how quickly he got popped down. He goes for his BKB. But the physical damage is still going to rip him apart.
Yeah, he can't move around in the fight, so he has Gray, but he still can't escape. So I think he's going to need to upgrade his lance to a Pike at some point and just create some distance in between himself and other heroes and create some spread so that him and his teammates don't get cleaved down. But right now, the Empower is doing a lot of work, and no one did go for the 10% Empower talent. So 60% more damage, actually even more than that, considering the cleave on these other heroes.
So TNC, fights are not going your way. You're still 1 racks up, however, and you're still running a Tinker and Terrorblade, so your split push is still looking pretty damn good. How do you actually look for a win condition here?
I think you actually need to end the game before Magnus gets 6 slotted. Once he gets like Refresher, I think they're in a lot of trouble. Especially with Tinker not having instant Bloodstone. He only has, or instant respawn right now, he has only 10 charges on his Bloodstone. So if he gets RP'd, he is out for a very, very long time. And...
Ooh, Solo, be careful. Rocket spam coming in from Cuckoo. Solo.
That is so sad.
just get out. Hey, he tanked up three rockets. Made sure he didn't die. Holding that Gem of True Sight, he does not want to give it back to TNC. But you definitely think the approach.
Yeah, he is. He almost DP'd onto that, but he has the Observer Ward on the high ground, scanning them out. So yeah, what did TNC want to do right now? If they can't push into the Aegis just expire right now, so that's kind of fortunate for them. But I think with the next, if VP gets the next Aegis, they can easily stall until Magnus gets more items, and they're in just really, really deep.
Can TNC just force the bottom lane?
No.
You got Metamorphosis, so you can
so.
at least take out the tier 3 tower, and then like every Metamorphosis, you just push it. Prep your Observer Ward, so at least, because you don't have the Jam or True Sight at the moment, so you have Obs and Sentries around. Do you prepare for the fight on bottom lane and just have vision superiority?
I don't think so, because even if you see them coming, you're still going to lose the fight. Like, Spectre can literally just dagger and just walk in and then buy back and haunt, and they will get wiped, I think, right now, just because of how strong the Spectre is, and because the Lifestealer is also dealing a large amount of damage, and they have no control through his Rage. They still don't have any anti-BKB with the Terrorblade. And I think even if Terrorblade is left alone in the fights, he still won't be able to kill the Lifestealer at all, which is a very, very big problem. So yeah, if they push, they can just power through with buybacks. Ramses, he was sitting at 6,000 gold. Right now he has 6,500 gold. So they just need to wait a little bit longer for Magnus to get to the point where his team fight is unparalleled with the double RP. Right now, what do TNC have for team fight? Is this Tinker spam pretty much? I would say is their main team fight.
VP's coming out. They're actually wanting to fight already. So it's a 3/4-man smoke because you got the infested Lifestealer inside of Lil. And they're wrapping around, so Spec is almost baiting in the mid, hoping that Sam will come into him, but VP, they're going the long, long way around. Apart from Solo, he's cutting the short path. Gets the Observe Ward up, they still don't have any vision of anybody. Coming into that bottom lane, they know there's going to be Master Machines forcing the lane. And they have to basically prepare the fact there is Observer Wars, but then BKB, the RP, able to connect perfectly. Dazzle's already down, so no Shallow Grave here for the fight. Terrorblade, now the Metamorphosis will be triggered. You'll find Solo going down the tree lines. Tim has to rolling boulder away. It was Ramses who's just in the thick of it underneath Cuckoo. But VP, retreat back out again. Nyx Assassin wants to go for more. A quick Yule Scepter, doesn't have the stun available. For some reason, the E-Blade popped his a melee creep, looking for a life stealer. Doesn't actually find it.
Really good BKB by the Terrorblade, and that was a really nice skewer by no one. He got vision from the Haunt and just skewered the TB into the Dazzle, so Dazzle was just dead. Unfortunately for them, Dazzle died so fast that they couldn't cleave Raven down because of the Butterfly. They don't quite yet have the MKB up on the Lifestealer.
They're going in with no RP, with no Spectral Haunt, and you still the Metamorphosis up. Raven's doing his work. They get the melee racks down the bottom lane, so TNC still get the objective they were looking for. They don't manage to regather the gem from the Lifestealer, but they do still have one over on the Nyx. So side lanes belong to TNC now.
Yeah, they weren't able to kill any high priority targets that fight. Yeah, Dazzle was high priority, but he wasn't like they only got a Dazzle after committing all of their
It was meant to be the snowball, right? Like you kill the Dazzle so then you can take the high priority target because there's no grave delaying you.
Yeah, they weren't able to control the Tinker as well as they would have liked.
Ramses he's almost buying out, so he buys up a Skadi now on the Spectra.
3,600 HP seems pretty good.
Sam gets the stun. No follow-up. It's just E-play pop. Just harassment on the mid lane more than anything else. And Roshan is up, and VP no. They have to commit quickly to this. RP is up in 7 seconds time. Spec Haunt is up in 1 second, and it won't even matter. Roshan's dead before both abilities come off cooldown. So Aegis and Cheese. Aegis in the hands is Ramses, and Cheese is in the backpack of Lifestealer.
They have 4 minus armor on the side of VP with the Dezo, double aura, and then the corrosive haze. So there's just very, very little chance. And utilizing the Slaughter, yes, Slaughter is not really seen that hot right now, but he's still, I would say, one of the best supports to aid in the taking down of Roshan, which has been very key this game, especially at the time that they sneaked it in before. So now, yeah, Aegis, Cheese in the backpack of the Lifestealer. I think he can probably go for the MKB at this point on the Lifestealer. Might still want to stay for buyout, but 2 racks down, I still don't think TNC's in that great a position because of how well VP scale.
TNC are coming. Ramses walks straight underneath that Observer Ward. They know where he is. Pasha will reveal himself in a second as well. So Nyx Assassin, if they get that initial stun, Pasha's going to be in a lot of trouble. The damage will instant Metamorphosis trigger. Pasha, he wants to get out, but it will not happen. In fact, Nyx Assassin jumps forward, able to get the Yule Scepter into the E-Blade pop on the spec. They need to get a little bit closer, and the kick following through, it actually connects. Ramses standing his ground now against the illusions. But with the buyback of the Lifestealer, TNC, they will disengage for the moment.
I bet he regrets having that Javelin in his inventory instead of the Cheese. He had plenty of time to Cheese there if it were in his inventory. And that those dreams of having MKB before this fight are dashed.
Yep. And a huge kill as well if TNC can follow up and get it again. 6 minutes and a half without buyback available for a Lifestealer.
Yeah, they need the Spectre to be out there tanking one of these games. The thing about TNC is they're incredibly good about their target selection too. They know the exact right hero to kill. Normally, Lifestealer's like, do we really want to go in that? But in this case, he didn't have the Cheese. He wasn't able to. He doesn't have any way to get out of a silence too. To rage, no AC, no Lotus Orb. I don't think any on his team actually. And they do have that high ground position. TNC just extremely good about.
Lil, Spec has to haunt in on this one. Cuckoo does have that fresh Hex available. When Lil's able to get the extra bash in, they will find the kill. Big kill for no one. 7 times kill streak has been ended for just over 800 gold. Not to mention the space that gets created with Tinker on the sidelines.
It's definitely some space, and I think they're not getting any objectives off of this, but it's still really important to force Tinker into that area where he's forced to buy back in case he dies in a team fight. And these Bloodstone decreased charges
Look
certainly
at
add
VP just
up.
go. Ramsey's just gunning it forward. Diffusal Blade charge. That's a 4-staff down the Dazzle. E-Blade pop to stop the attack damage, but then again, he's also burning to the Radiance. I don't think really there's a way for Dazzle to survive, and he knows it, so goes for just a quick weave. Remove some of that armor from Virtus Pro, so if they do take the tier 2 tower, they might think twice about pushing up as Tinker respawns with 2 seconds to go. And you can see it already. Ramtes, BT's up the top lane. It's back to the split push.
BOT is mandatory at this point. I think with 2 lanes down, Spectre is going to be their main split pusher, although most of their heroes can do it with the aid of Empower, barring Lil and Solo, I suppose. But Lil, he's been on Tinker hunting duty all game, which is a perfectly reasonable way to play at this point.
He's there doing it again.
He hasn't died as much as I've expected from him.
You'll see the Martial Machines, but he doesn't find the target. Okay, now he does. Tinker TP's in. Blink to the side, but Lil, he still is not certain about it. With no Haunt up, you'll have to wait another 12 seconds before that's available.
And he has no room for Dust on the Spectre, and
that's why he has to rely on the gem of Lil.
Yep, or the amp. But at the same time, they need Lil to go in first because he could just perma-hex Lil and TP out. There's no way for Spectre to interrupt TPs right now. So still pretty tight game. Magnus almost has a refresher. That is really bad. A lot of these fights have still been won without RP. And I don't think TNC can really siege this that well. A kill on Pasha, I think, will probably yield in a T3 and maybe more. But barring that, I think most of the other heroes have enough gold to power through and or the Aegis on Spectre, so he's not scared at all.
Watching Lil move up this top lane is hilarious. He's let multiple creep waves go just because he knows he's got one job, and that's killing Tinker. Pushing the waves, he'll leave that to somebody else. Now
they probably have to come back to defend. I think Raven, he has an Arcane Rune, so he can expend a meta without really too much loss for him and just spam out tons of illusions. So yeah,
especially when he sends him to mid.
Free T3 damage.
Yep. Even without having to trigger Metamorphosis. The illusions already hurt the tower so much, and they find an opening. It's going to be Lil. That's the Gem of True Sight lost. Tims will end up picking that one up.
Ooh, this is really bad because now they don't really have that many threats for the fight. Without a Lifestealer infested on Lil, I think the Tinker can kind of just run free. Spectre does not have enough damage to kill the Tinker by himself.
And if Lil buys back, it's going to be very much telegraphed to TNC. So they can just retreat out. So you can't even set up the Infest combo with Pasha.
And Aegis is down. Ramses, his life is at risk.
There goes the tier 3. Bit by bit, TNC claiming the buildings inside VP's base. The Hex is there. The RP will connect for the kick from Tibbs. Perfect. The form silence. BKB from no one. It may be enough. The Cleave is still doing his work. The Shallow Grave is out. It's actually protecting the Terrorblade, who was able to sunder himself back up. But Ramses, he needs to die, and Raven's able to oblige. Not to mention Tibbs. Another 3-man stun. This guy is a god. The buyback will come in from the Spec, allowing him now to haunt forward. Raven will fall, and this will be a costly defense, but a defense nonetheless from Virtus Pro. Tinker needs a TP out, needs something, but Cuckoo rearmed, can't do it in time, not while the Shallow Grave is there. So there's no Tinker. He does not have buyback available, but Terrorblade as well as Nyx do.
Whew. Only a T3. Rex were not even scathed at all. And Magnus did not pop BKB before RP. That was really big because the Carapace had already come out on the Nyx Assassin. Nice timing by him. But they still were able to clean up, albeit with multiple buybacks.
Yep. But you also had one from TNC, so that was a dieback on the Tinker.
And I think they have enough damage at this point to go for Throne after a set of racks. And 50 seconds off on Tinker is a pretty long time. Is Magnus going to buy BOTs and come in? Is he going to save for his refresher? Not sure what his play is here.
Oh, they're going into the tier 4 towers. That Dazzle just gets destroyed. So Virtus Pro, How far do you want to go with this one? There's no Tinker, there's no Dazzle. Do you feel you got enough for a GG push? Or do you try and counter the racks? They're going to go for the racks instead, but the tier 2 towers are up, so they can't go for anything more than the mid. But yep, here we go. They're going to go straight for the tier 4 towers. Virtus Pro, there will be a 3-man kick from Tims, delaying this up, and Virtus Pro, including a 2-man silence, will now walk outside of the TNC base.
And still plenty of time to take out at least one shrine. Magnus looks like he is going to be on base defense duty. I think he can sell his Midas and buy Refresher and have enough for buyback. For buyback, which I think is really important for him. A Refresher should just be
the
GG.
first Refresher is actually Ramses, so we got a Refresher for the Spectre.
Yeah, 2 BKBs on him too, which is I think very, very important for him in this game.
Aghanim Scepter now rise for the Earth Spirit.
This is late game, dude.
You got a secondary save now from TNC. It's not just reliant on Dazzle hitting that shallow grave.
Looking at level 25s too, because that's starting to come into play. Terrorblade's still not level 25. 15 all stats, usually the choice. I think minus 30 Sunder cooldown might actually have some merit here.
25 seconds for Roshan. VP smoke timing is going to get them at Roshan at almost the exact moment, but you look at TNC, they're also coming in. The smoke's going to break. No one. This is time. The BKB plus the ulti. Remember, he's going to have the secondary one thanks to Refresher up, so skewer forward. Secondary RP. You also have to buy space for Nyx Assassin, but Sam, the shallow grave is keeping him alive, but it won't be the same for the Terrorblade. He will fall. Then Ramses looking for the Haunt. He wants a secondary target. He jumped up to the top lane after using the Refresher Orb. Didn't actually get the kill over on Tims. So TNC will lose the fight, but they're not going to lose the game here because they still have their Tinker pushing in the side lanes.
That just shows you how powerful VP's teamfight is right now. They can blow 2 RPs on. I would kind of say it's just one hero with the Terrorblade because the Grave had already come off, and still win the fight very, very handily. And now compound that with Aegis that they can just easily stall out for the Refreshers to come off cooldown. I think this Rax and mid for VP is still safe for some time to come. And Cuckoo is going to have to pull out all the stops to stop VP. Like the Hexes, they can easily get a Lotus Orb on VP to deal with them. And as long as Magnus pops his BKB, he should be completely okay. I think they need to find a way for the Terrorblade to get out of the fight. Like you can save him for a little bit with like EB, which can get diffused, with Grave, which they actually just kept attacking him through it through the 5 seconds. But they need a way for him, I think, to actually eject from the fight or do enough damage that he can kill people through his with his BKB. But I don't really think that's an option realistically because no one will always RP him if given the opportunity.
I don't think VP of no, unless this crew is going up the secret shop. There's a Gem of Truth site just sitting in the dire jungle at the moment, and no one has any idea. I think it's actually sitting there.
This is where the game starts to get crazy, Toby.
There's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, level 25. You have to.
You've already got 2 gems over on VP. Lil and Solo are carrying it. Nyx Assassin's carrying one of his own, and then you got another gem sitting on the ground. This is when we need the super gems.
And the GPM talents. It's 58 minutes in the game. CM has the 120 GPM talent. Earth Spirit has had 90 GPM for like 30 minutes now.
Oh wait, are we going to get ourselves another 1040 GPM in this game?
No way.
They're too far out.
It's way too long for a game to have that high of GPM, sadly. But poor Dazzle, he's level 16. Only has 2 talents to choose from. So sad.
2 under level. Everyone else can buy him the tomes then. Like they're pulling in the money.
Yep. Buy him gems. Buy him Moonshard.
Buy him Moonshard. Moonshard Dazzle. we need the full combat build with the Desolator on him early on. That's why you had the Anuxi Desolator set for Dazzle.
Dazzle
for combat Dazzle.
Nyx doesn't even have Ags yet. He is going for full survivability. He just doesn't want to get RP'd. I do like his build. He's been able to Yules out most of the skewer into RP because there's still cast time on the RP after that. And I see him up in the air the majority of the time during these team fights. So that's pretty nice for him that he can just stay alive. It is, I think, pretty important that he didn't go for the Ags, though. Or else he would just he'd still get RP'd and he would get cleaved down. If he didn't have the Yules, I would think he'd have far less impact in these team fights.
Yeah. And this isn't even like a CG thing, which the Ags are so good for.
Yeah.
Ramsey just looks like so much, like it's such good bait that TNC aren't going to have a bar of it. We've now crossed over the hour mark in this game. So both teams understand, especially TNC, like they lose one fight because they've lost that mid racks. It's so simple for VP just to rush down mid if they haven't lost any of their critical cores.
Yeah, I think at this point the racks are kind of irrelevant. There is still one shrine up outside of the base, and that's the Rose Shrine for TNC, which is very important for a hero like Tinker. And pretty much anyone on their team, the Shrine's going to heal for ridiculous amounts at this point in the game. So let's see, Terrorblade, level 25. He did take the Thunder cooldown, which I think he's been like very close to dying in all these fights.
Yeah.
And the agility and the HP from the sets is decent, but you just need to stay alive and power through these ultimates. 2 haunts, 2 RPs, Grave, and 1 Thunder is not going to be enough.
All he's got to do is wait for the Grave. Like he goes to initial Sunder, waits for the Grave,
Yes,
and then 7
exactly.
seconds cooldown on his Sunder.
And he has the heart, too, to even aid in that quest of staying alive until the second Thunder.
VP were looking for a fight, but they're not going to get it. Instead, all they get is a D-Ward.
Oh, jeez. Spectre has to re-buy Diffusal Blaze now. Oh, he doesn't actually have buyback after that. I guess he should have it pretty soon, but he is 9-slotted. He is Aegis. He'll have his buyback gold before the next fight.
Yeah.
Solo is given the cheese, too. Okay, that's how late game this has gotten. No one else, he doesn't even have room in his inventory.
Yeah,
oh
he understands his role. He needs the vision. He needs to get the Observer Wards down, then he can switch the cheese in.
And he has the Lotus Orb to counter the Tinker. Tinker's life is absolutely just miserable when you have to play against Lotus Orb and BKBs. It's just, like, he might even consider switching out the...
Isn't that when you start selling it? Sell cheese?
For whom? Sell cheese?
Any kind of income you can get into your supports.
Here he has the 120 GPM talent, dude. He already has money for the Lotus Orb.
He doesn't need to sell it. Odd.
And even like Slardar can hit really, really hard. He went for the 20 strength talent and the damage on the Slardar, and he has Empower. So Slardar Empower is going to be hitting for like 350-ish. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage with Corrosive Haze too.
Oh, VP have the damage. They still need to inflict it. TNC are waiting this out very, very patiently, but Lil right next to Cuckoo, the Blink Crush, they're going to find the Tinker and bring him down. Buyback is available. They'll have to cut their way out of the tree line, which they'll be fine to do so.
A 2-charge Bloodstone.
Solo's prepping Tinker wards on the bottom lane as well. They want to keep their vision up, and Sam, it's like his job is ganking up at the bottom. They have the Observer and Sentries down, so they see where Solo is moving, but they want the bigger target. They want Ramses, the man that was farming the lane, but he didn't keep going with the creep wave. He went back up now in range of the Observer ward.
That's a really tough call to make, though. If it actually erupts into a team fight, Tinker has to buy back. And there's no guarantee that he's actually even going to be able to do anything in the fight because it's so far away from base. There might not be that many things to TP on. He doesn't have BOT2s yet on the Tinker, so he will have some trouble getting into the fight. And if he buys back and dies, it's just GG. So no one...
He's got a 2.8k surplus. He can buy the BTs too.
But then he won't have buyback. He doesn't have any Bloodstone charges, so he has to save for buyback.
Well, he's got enough with the surplus.
Oh, he does? Oh, he
does.
Okay.
He'll be fine.
Don't want to buy back, though.
Maybe he's thinking of a different item with 2 Bloodstone charges.
What does he get, though?
Do you want to? Yeah, what do you get in return? Do you go for the burst damage? Do you actually bring in a Dagon?
Dagon versus like 3,600 HP Spectre, and like multiple BKBs and Rage, I don't think is the play. Ghost Scepter also probably not the play because they have fresh Diffusal on Ramses. So
unless it's a secondary E-Blade pop.
That would be nice.
Because you already have one coming in from the next Assassin, so you could actually kite out the Life Stealer in a second wave.
He already sold his Glimmer, so I mean, he's already playing with not that much gold.
Well,
791 last hits on Spectre. That is ridiculous. I don't know what the record was yesterday, but this game might be most last hits in the game.
When you have more CS than the Tinker, who's just been pushing the side lanes time and time again, but now you got Ramses, like he BTs out. And then pushes the lane. Lil ready to come in, looking for the fight, and a quick reflect. They want to go for more with a follow-up stun. Now Spectre going to haunt in. No one looks for the RP, but where is it? Now will go down, catching up the Terrorblade. The skewer forward. He's only found one, but that's the big one. Cuckoo will fall. We'll have the buyback from Cuckoo. He needs to get back into this one. The Cello Grave, Terrorblade, Sunder. He lets it go and gets pushed up on top of the hill. Now it's King of the Castle play. Terrorblade will survive. His mana doesn't even get him down from there. Someone's going to force up. That'll get him down. No slaughter for 100 seconds. Spec does have buyback, 114 seconds. He could potentially wait, but that's way too long. And Cuckoo is on the hunt. Needs to re-arm, get closer, gets the Hex over on the Magnus. Support is there. Sam will get not the double stun. The Rage is off in time. Ramsey's buys back, triggers a refresh orb. They're looking for more kills on the back of that Haunt. Tim's is the man on the run. He's going to rolling boulder down over the hill and blinks up and TPs away.
Holy
the buyback
shit,
is out and he will survive.
I cannot believe that Tim just saved him right there. That was so crucial. Oh my God, what a player. He just saved the game right there. I think by they baited out the Spectre buyback and they didn't lose the Tinker. That is incredible. What?
Now Magnus is the only one who has the buyback.
Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so he has a refresher orb on Terrorblade. So multiple Sunders. It could be like 4 Sunders in a fight, possibly. Perfect timing from the grave, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He actually just triggered it now. So he triggers the refresher orb, switches the heart back in again. So Metamorphosis, here we go again. Push down the mid lane. Everyone's up, but without the RP, it's 25 seconds. Haunt for 52 seconds. The cheese is on Spec, so he can survive that way.
Yeah, now they need to throw Life Stealer up in front because he has buyback. I guess Magnus can go up in front too, but you don't really want to be up in front, even with a minus respawn time talent. But can they really push with this? They still need to be able to get a jump, but it's really hard with a Lotus Orb on the side.
Raven just wants to chip. He looks towards the ranks. This will force VP into some level of engagement. The kick was trying to create a little bit more space. There's a Frostbite over on Raven. That melee ranks has dropped down low, but not low enough.
Tim's Earth Spirit.
First right out. They still don't have the double RP. No one's waiting for the perfect opportunity, but it's Terrorblade. They know he's waiting to drop down low so then he can Sunder, and he does it over on Pasha. He dodges the Lotus Orb target, but Raven drop down low. They'll need the Shallow Grave. Raven, there it is. He'll keep himself alive. RP is out. It's the control there long enough. They force off him down. There's the Sunder. Another force off. Raven will fall down solo. Value Nova finds the kill. Tim's was rolling boulder around. He'll actually roll right into the middle of Pasha. Terrorblade will buy back.
Wow, he wasn't actually able to enchant Remnant on him too. Tim's died without using his ultimate, and they were like all in on saving the Terrorblade right there. And of all things to die to, 67 Crystal Nova. Oh my God. Oh man. I thought he might have the level 25 talent. No, it's just a untalented Crystal Nova. He's not level 25 yet.
Close. Very, very close. And even then, isn't even going to get the Nova. After that, maybe. But 1.5 seconds of Frostbite duration.
If he had Ags, you usually go for the Frostbite duration.
He's got the Ags and the quick buy.
Yeah. I think he probably wants to save for buyback at this point, though. So, maybe another 10 minutes. I guess he has a GPM talent, so maybe not even that long. Hell of a game we have here, Toby.
It is 68.5 minutes in. Neither team wanting to give up. There's a reason why these two teams are sitting playing for the top seeding out of the Swiss bracket, if they can claim it. Even those graphs. It seems ridiculous that we're sitting at 18,000 net worth advantage to Virtus Pro. About 16K in the experience advantage as well.
There's so many items in backpacks right now that the net worth chart is, I don't even know where it is if you just count all 6 items.
Yeah, so when you take out the refresher orbs, hey, at least we kept up our Midas quota. We had at least 3 Midases. I think it was Paul saying on the way here, we've had an average of 3 Midases in every single game.
Wait, no one got Midas in this game?
No, they did. It's all been sold.
Who got? Oh, the Knicks had Midas. Who else had Midas?
Knicks had Midas.
I think it was just Knicks this game.
No, we definitely had 3.
Okay.
We definitely had 3. I remember seeing 3.
too many items.
All right, so we're going again. Probably just needed to wipe the sweat off your brow and get back into the fight.
Refresher up on no one. He didn't have it off cooldown last fight.
Yeah.
Now they can just take Roach, I think, with still 20 seconds left on this. That's more than enough time.
But does he I suppose they do it so quickly it may not matter. But he doesn't want to have to use Refresher Orb in order to get his RP up. He wants to have both of them for the next fight.
You definitely want Roach, though, because you don't have buyback on Ramses because of that.
With that implication, Roshan is paper.
And
wet, soggy paper. Ripped apart. Yeah, who takes the cheese? All right, Lifestealer will take the cheese. And then give it over to Solo to survive. You understand who the important one is. So now we actually have more Lotus Orbs appearing. This one will be in the Nyx Assassin. He's actually trading his... He put his boots... Like he's still walking around with brown boots, putting them in his inventory. Okay, he gives the gem over to Earth Spirit now.
I think in TNC's position right now, I think you might have to concede the fact that you just can't win a team fight now that RP and Refresher and Aegis are up.
So do you go for a trade-off? Do you try and cancel the TPs with the Nyx Assassin and just force him behind the base? Do you turn this into a race?
I think you have to try and go for a sneaky throw-in play is the best option that you're going to get. I think Tinker needs to be the one to stop all the TPs with hexes and just count that they're not going to BKB TP to go home.
Well, looks like they're just going to have to fight from inside their base. VP are coming to them.
Yeah.
But you see the side lanes pushing in. So if TNC could just do a little bit of defense, hey, they have a Tinker, then they're going to be fine. Because it forces this exact thing.
They have to play close to the shrines, though. I think they're so weak relative to the 5-man VP that they're going to need like 2 or 3 shrines and like 4 steps into the fountain to be able to win the fight right now. He could be up on Tinker. Sadly, you cannot rearm it, but he has been dying to Spectre Haunt and getting Diffusal. So, yeah.
He is something.
It's a good item.
And Lifestealer is now building into a full Bloodthorn.
Oh, a smoke. Smoke coming out from TNC on the left side of the map.
Well, do they find an opening? They have to assume, because Lil and the frickin' Lifestealer, Pasha, have just been holding hands this entire time, and he walks straight into them. The Hex will be there. This will be a big opening if they can actually get both of the kills. Slaughter's down for 2 minutes with a follow-up stun. The window has been left open from Virtus Pro. Lifestealer will have a buyback, but with no Slaughter, no amplification, no secondary crush. This may be exactly what TNC needed.
What a perfect timing for a smoke, too. Unfortunately, they did use Metamorphosis for that because Raven's like, wow, what, there's just 2 heroes here? As soon as he saw the Lifestealer pop out, he's like, okay, there has to be more, right?
But he's got Refresher in 15 seconds.
Yep.
So you're still going to have it to go.
So without Slaughter, do they have enough control? No one? This is on you.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure, Magnus.
You know, if he didn't hit that big RP on top with the 4-man RP, I think the game would have ended like 40 minutes ago. So he delivered already once when the game was on the line.
As a wise person once said, I'm fairly certain this game is going to be ended on an RP.
I'd be more surprised if RP wasn't cast.
Yeah, on a failed RP.
Okay.
That's more of a negative way of looking at the fight before it happens.
Technically, it would still land on RP.
There's your jump forward, Ramses. Already copying a fair chunk of damage from Raven. They protect them both with Lotus Orbs. But Ramses, not too healthy, has the Aegis. It looks like it's about to trigger. He's so low, 100. He went down to 20 HP, still surviving. So there goes the Aegis Immortal and the Skewer. They can hold him there, but no one actually gets sundered. Raven, the RP has to come out from no one. Hold him in position. Solo now lets it go, but Raven, the damage is again too much. Solo has to back up a little bit further. Get away from the next assassin. Secondary RP committed, but Raven, another saving grace. They're just holding him there. He'll sunder his own Dazzle, the man that kept him alive. He had to sunder his own teammate. Refresher Orb out, create more chaos. Virtus Pro, the defense. Terrorblade is finally brought down. Tinker will join him. They're both dead for 2 minutes. With this window that was meant to be open for TNC, VP shutter closed and then shatter the glass.
Even with all those defensive cooldowns terribly, he still cannot stay alive. What is that? 4 pull geomagnetic grips by Earth Spirit?
He did everything he could. He did everything he could, but maybe we were right. Like, he just had to bail from the fight. Don't take a 5-on-5 fight.
What better opportunity are you going to get there, though?
I don't know. keep delaying the game, keep split pushing until you get some level of opening against Virtus Pro.
They have lane issues right now. This is
Oh, the crush. Sam, quick yulls up. Spine Carapace is available, so is E-Blade, so is Forstaff, but when he keeps getting bashed by Lil, he has to E-Blade himself. Forstaff into Blink. No, he just got one little bit of damage into him, so he's incapable of blinking. Now Nick's Assassin is dead for 2 minutes. 1 minute until you got the 2 big cores up for TNC. But what do you got? You got Tim's pushing through the top lane. They can't win this race, can they? Both teams have fortification available.
they have to test the waters to see what the buyback status is. 30 seconds left on Terrorblade, so his respawn timer is actually like 30 seconds, but that is way too long. I think this is
gone.
game.
It's gone.
They're like, what? They don't have buybacks? Oh God, let's just end right here.
Yeah, Tim's is trying. Tim's is trying, but no one blinked in front of him, canceling the rolling boulder out. And Tim's is doing everything he possibly can. Another crush, but Pasha will come in. That's the game. That's VP taking game one in 74 minutes and 26 seconds against TNC. Hard fought game one.
That was really, really tough. Whew. That was... they had to pull out everything. I can't believe it lasted that long.
It just kept going. But VP, they held true. They held the defense time and time again. But like, you kind of would hope you could hold the line when you have double RPs, when you have double haunts.
They only had one way to hit buildings, though, and that was with the Terrorblade. And they thought they had enough. Dazzle saved Geoman in a grip.